What a fantastic opening race we've had here at Silverstone for the 10th anniversary of the Gala Performance MR2 Championship. I'm joined by Championship Coordinator Patrick Mortell. We're here at a Toyota supply stand. We've got every mark of the MR2s, Gala Performance stand behind us. How proud are you to be involved with this championship?
Really proud. I mean, 10 years is a good time. It's a healthy time for any championship, and to survive as long as we have and with the numbers that we have, and to be going stronger now than we've ever been is fantastic.
33 cars on the grid, with more than 33 cars.
Oh, 39.
39 cars.
Yep.
It's a fantastic testament, and great racing all the way through Mark 1s, 2s and 3s.
I think one of the big attractions for the MR2 Championship is that the cars are great to begin with. You know, it's a good sports car. It's very easy to turn it into a race car, and the Mark 1s, 2s and 3s share the same kind of DNA underneath. They're mid-engine, they're rear-wheel drive, two-seater sports cars, and you just can't get that kind of racing for this kind of budget.
Yeah, we've just seen Sean Trainer win the first race here at Silverstone. He's a two-time champion. He's not raced in any other championship, and he doesn't really want to. So it just goes to show how great it is here.
Yeah, and it's interesting as well to see Stuart Nichols and Jim Davis have come back for the 10th anniversary round. Stuart's won his class championship. Jim's been an overall champion, and it's been really good to see them strong at the front end of the field, having been out of it for the last year or so.
We've got race 2 coming up. Who's your money on?
I really don't know. The order for race 2 is set on the fastest qualifying time in race 1, so that's shaking the order up again. And I know some of the guys that were running towards the front of that race are now starting at the front of the next one. So I don't know. I don't want to put my money down at this point, but we'll see.
It's going to be interesting nonetheless.
Thank you.
It's brilliant. So with that, I'll hand you up to our commentary team and Andy McEwen for race 2.
Thanks, Anthony. Well, much better conditions for race number 2, I'm glad to report, and a grid set by the fastest laps in the first race means there's an element of shuffling on it. Sean Trainer, our race 1 winner, with Paul Cook on the front row, ahead of Chris Thomas and Jim Davis. Then Josh Brooks, Shane Mansbridge, Ben Rowe, 7th on the grid, having finished 11th in the previous race after that dramatic penultimate lap contact that he had with his big rival. So this is going to be an interesting race. Really, Ben Rowe needs to try and get up there and beat Sean Trainer in this one to undo the damage done to his championship lead after race 1. So the cars are lined up on the grid. The red lights are about to come on. It's Paul Cook on the Sean Trainer on the outside of row 1 on pole position, the white and blue car. The yellow and grey car on the inside is Paul Cook, who had that spin after contact with Jim Davis, remember, which put them both down the order again towards the end of race 1. The lights go out, we're away and racing for the second and final time here at Silverstone, and the rush towards Abbey Corner begins with Sean Trainer, I think, with his nose in front. Can Paul Cook fight through on the inside? They're wheel to wheel, but I think Trainer had it as the rest of the field streamed through. What a magnificent sight they make. 39 Toyota MR2s out on track across the 3 classes. This is a really fitting anniversary celebration. What has become one of the most popular championships in UK motorsport. Josh Brooks there being elbowed a bit wide by Chris Thomas, who didn't qualify too well for race 1, which explains why he ended up finishing some way down further down the order than you'd expect from previous race winner. But this time around, qualifying 3rd on the grid was Chris, so he should be able to have a better shot at running towards the front. Qualifying took place in conditions much like these, dry but cool, whereas of course race 1 was wet, so we may well see a bit more of a return to the usual running order in this one, where Paul Cook is attacking around the outside of Sean Trainer for the lead at Stowe. Then this fight for 3rd place, Chris Thomas and Josh Brooks side by side again, and Josh Brooks runs way wide. Jim Davis goes out wide with him, I think that was as well, but Brooks should be able to hang on. Oh, they're still side by side, and in fact no, it is Thomas that hangs on to the 3rd place. So Thomas into 3rd, and into the race lead goes Paul Cook. Look, Sean Trainer, I think, locked up and ran wide down at Vale, and so Paul Cook has gone through, and that could be a really timely move. Let's see if Paul Cook can now escape at the head of the field, or whether Sean Trainer can get back at him. There's Ben Rowe, so Ben Rowe coming through 5th at the end of the opening lap, so he's gained 2 places already. We're on board now with Stuart Nichols. Up the inside line comes Tim Herron towards Abbey Corner, and at the first time through here at full speed, Tim Herron is a very brave man to try and get up the inside line. That's exactly what he does. He slides his way through. Stuart Nichols tries to come back at him though, as they go up towards the hairpin at Village, which is where the leaders find themselves almost side by side again. Paul Cook still hanging on though. Sean Trainer applying the pressure, just as he did to Ben Rowe in the first race, and forced the mistake out of him. course it was late contact whilst Trainer was the one under pressure that in the end sealed the race result in Sean's favour. He's got a good exit there from the link. He's up the inside of Cook down the Hanger Straight, and I think he's about to go back through. Drag race down the longest straight on the circuit, but of course these cars are all identical, all prepared to identical regulations, so there really is very little to choose in performance between them. Trainer it is on the inside line in the end, who uses that to go through. So Trainer takes the race lead. Cook drops down into second position again, but with the slipstreaming nature of the racing around this high-speed circuit, it's highly unlikely that that is going to be how it stays for the rest of the race. Paul Cook is already thinking about coming up the inside down at Vale. Doing more than thinking about going through is Josh Brooks. He went to the outside of Chris Thomas there at the left-hander, but ran too deep into the corner, and so Ben Rowe took full advantage, and the black and gold number 3 car, championship leader still, but by a reduced margin after race 1. He's through into 4th position now. He's already, in fact, onto the tail of the 3rd place man, Chris Thomas, who goes almost into the pit wall down the pit straight there to defend into Abbey Corner. Watch for Rowe to take a bit more speed out of the corner. Look at that, chops back to the late apex, carries the momentum up the hill. Where's Chris Thomas gone? He ran very wide then over the curbs, but he's just about held on to the 3rd place for now. He again defends to the inside. This is holding Ben Rowe up and allowing Josh Brooks the chance to get back up the inside of him, and Brooks goes for it, tries to take 4th place away, runs right out to the edge of the road, which tells me that he's made the move stick, which he sort of has. Actually, no, he hasn't. Ben Rowe stays in front, so it looked there as though Brooks had gone through. And now Josh Brooks is very sideways again at the bottom of the hill, and that almost sent him off the road altogether. So Josh Brooks, always entertaining to watch, and it's no different here at Silverstone, where he continues to be as spectacular as ever. Paul Cook is also a driver who always seems to be in the thick of the action, as he was in race 1. And as he is again in race 2, where he's challenging for the race lead. Ben Rowe, though, is challenging for 3rd, and he really could do with getting on with this now, so as to be able to get into some clean air and try and use that to close in on the leading 2. Tried to go around the outside at Stowe. That's brave. That's where it all went wrong for him towards the end of race number 1 of the weekend. Here in race 2, much drier conditions, so the outside line a bit less fraught with danger. The curbs are now bone dry, so whilst still not the grippiest part of the racetrack, they're nowhere near as slippery as they were in the first race. That really is what caught Ben Rowe out. So across the line go the leading 2. They're pulling away pretty consistently now, actually, from the rest of the field, with Chris Thomas in 3rd, Ben Rowe in 4th position, and still unable to get through. And you can see the job that Ben is going to have to try and close in on these leading 2. If you work together here, you can really find quite an advantage over the rest of the field. If they're all busy squabbling for position, you are content to just follow each other around for the first half of the race, then you can really pull quite a big gap, although it looks as though it's all that Paul Cook can do at the moment to hang on to the race leader. It is all going on, though, for 3rd place. Look at this, a 5-car battle for the bottom step on the podium. Chris Thomas just ahead of Ben Rowe, just ahead of Josh Brooks. Then it is, I think, that's Jim Davis, is one of the Rogue cars next in line. Yes, it is. We're on board with Jim now, in fact, as we go down the Hanger Straight, and you'll see here visibly how the slipstream works, because they're all ganging up now on Chris Thomas, who's punching the hole in the air for the cars behind to follow in. To the outside goes Ben Rowe, to the middle goes Josh Brooks, to the very outside goes Jim Davis. And how's this all going to settle out? Well, Ben Rowe's going to try this outside line again at Stowe. He's a bit further alongside this time, and I think that Chris Thomas will have no choice but to leave him some room on the exit. They're wheel to wheel again down towards the bottom of the hill, where we have a new race leader. Paul Cook has got himself ahead of Sean Trainer for the lead, and Ben Rowe goes ahead of Chris Thomas for 3rd place. So Rowe into 3rd, but at the front of the field, his big championship rival has just lost a position, so there's now only 1 position between them, but there's quite a bit of real estate separating the 2nd place car, Sean Trainer, from the 3rd place car, Ben Rowe. And in fact, Sean Trainer does not particularly want to stay the 2nd place car for long. He wants to get back into the lead ahead of Paul Cook. It must have been a mistake somewhere for Trainer there, for the gap to have suddenly disappeared, because he had built up that little bit of a margin, hadn't he, over the 2nd place car. This is all starting to get very, very dicey indeed. Further back though, Chris Thomas with Josh Brooks around the outside. He gets sideways and clangs into the side of the grey and pink car, and through past the pair of them goes Jim Davis, at the place at which he was assaulted, of course, by Paul Cook towards the end of race 1. And this time around, he's the beneficiary of a very similar incident in front of him. Diving up the inside as well now, we've got Darren Aldworth, that is, trying to buy into all of this. And also Shane Mansbridge, the sort of burgundy and silver car, number 34, who's going up the inside as well. So this could really hurt Chris Thomas here. He's already down into 5th, make that 6th because Aldworth goes through, and I think that Mansbridge might be able to follow him here. Let's see, they hit the brakes down into Stowe Corner. Mansbridge on the inside, Thomas on the outside, and I think Chris really just wants to try and find himself a space back in the queue and try and evaluate his situation here and try to catch his breath. and try and build up some momentum over the second half of the race, because that really cost him quite a lot of time. Leading two are costing themselves some time as well, though, because they're battling hard for the lead. And look at who is growing ever larger in their mirrors, the ominous sight of a charging Ben Rowe. There he is in third place. He's definitely bridging that gap now between the fourth place battle and the lead battle. And I think with about half the race still to go, he's definitely got time to go to get to them. Side by side further back across the line there between some of the Class A cars. The Class A victory, by the way, in the previous race went the way of Adam Lockwood, as often it has done over the course of this season. And he's up there fighting for the lead again in this race. Battling here, though, down in towards the braking zone. Aaron Pullen there is in the orange car on the outside line, and on the inside of him is going Neil Stratton, the yellow number 36 car. Chasing them both, the white car is Gary Baxter. And we don't, unfortunately, always get the chance to check in with Class A cars as often as we'd like, because the battling in Class B is often where it's really getting exciting. And there's again contact between Traynor and Ben Rowe. Dear, oh dear, there'll be more black paint on Sean Traynor's car than there will white paint at the end of the weekend, and vice versa on Ben Rowe's car. Now that's brought Jim Davis into the equation too, so it's once more a four-way fight for the lead. We're on board with the fourth place man now as we streak past the Silverstone wing down towards Abbey Corner. And Jim Davis, well, can he get up there and challenge the man with whom he made contact towards the end of the first race, Paul Cook? Two cars separating them at the moment, but that might be about to become one car, because it looked as though Jim was looking to the inside of Ben Rowe towards Village. Ben saw that though, and so moved across to defend. Jim much quicker off the corner, there's nowhere to go with it through the link, so single file really through this part of the circuit. Then you try to hope that the car in front makes a mistake, misses the apex at the right hander, because that kills your speed down the back straight, but no change in the order there. Now this is for the lead of Class A. One of these cars is our race winner from race one, Adam Lockwood, and Adam Lockwood, who is at the wheel of the number 11 car. In fact, no, neither of these are Adam Lockwood. I beg your pardon, it's 50 and 56. 50 was Daniel Bryant, sorry, 55, excuse me, with Dave Hemingway going through on the inside. So Dave Hemingway gaining a position there. Those two have been dicing away all race long. I think they're running a little bit further behind Adam Lockwood. Yes, they are. They're fighting for podium positions, but not quite the race lead. As for third place, oh, there's contact. Paul Cook and Ben Rowe get into each other. Jim Davis involved in that as well. And for the second race in a row, Paul Cook finds himself pointing the wrong way. This time, though, he was absolutely the innocent bystander. He was just sandwiched in the middle there. There was just no room for everybody to go. He was being attacked by Ben Rowe, who in turn was being attacked by Jim Davis behind. And, well, it's worked out with Rowe second and Davis third. But the man that's really benefited is the race leader, Sean Traynor, who was the only one not in this lead group. Sorry, the only one in this lead group not to get involved in that contact. And so he's been able to pull away quite substantially from the cars behind. And at this relatively late stage of the race, that could be the damage done. They're going to be hard pressed now, I think, to close back in. Down the hill they go. That now means into fourth position comes Darren Aldworth, and this is the fight for fifth with Chris Thomas and Paul Cook together again. Paul Cook will be fed up of pointing the wrong way here at Silverstone. There's a smoky car further back as well, which I believe might be Shane Mansbridge, who's had a bit of contact somewhere. There's a bit of tyre, bodywork rubbing on the tyre there, although it seems to have cleared itself up now down the Hanger Straight. Paul Cook and Chris Thomas side by side. Cook on the outside line, and you can almost see the red mist descending, can't you, inside the cockpit of the Paul Cook car number 26. Josh Brooks now, who's also fighting back after earlier contact. There's been an awful lot of paint training in this race, but on a circuit like the Silverstone International Circuit, it does sort of promote the kind of really ultra close racing. It can sometimes lead to slightly robust overtaking manoeuvres, but it's never really intentional. It's just that you're fighting for every inch out there, and because of the slipstream keeping you so close together, it's almost inevitable sometimes that you're going to get a bit too close together on occasion. So there we have at the head of the next group, that was Mick Nichols, who is the lead Class C car. There, they're also running well, is Peter Higton, the number 4 car, silver and yellow car. He's running well inside the Class C brigade. Hard on the brakes though. There is Shane Mansbridge trying to find a way past. In fact, it's the other Nichols, it's Stuart Nichols, number 89, who is still the quickest of the Nichols clan this weekend. Race leaders out onto the back straight, and you can see there the lead that Sean Traynor has got over Ben Rowe in second, Jim Davis third, and it's all going on still for fourth place. It does seem that Darren Aldworth seems to find himself in the thick of all of the action, but every time, almost Teflon coated, he seems to sort of come out the other side unscathed and often gaining positions. Behind him, Chris Thomas and Paul Cook for the second lap in succession are side by side at Stoke Corner. Paul Cook can't go right round the outside. He learnt that the hard way a lap ago, so instead he tries to get the switch back, which I don't think worked either. This for second place and clobbering the curbs there, both Ben Rowe and in particular Jim Davis behind him, who was right up on two wheels there momentarily. Neither of them, though, are really making many inroads towards the race leader. So it looks like Sean Trainer has got this one covered. He switched the headlights on there because up the road he can see the back markers starting to loom. And this can always change the complexion of a race when you start catching the slower traffic. They themselves are having their own battles, often for a pretty decent position within their own class. And it's all too easy for them to just completely forget about the leaders arriving on the scene or just not notice it at all. And that can really start to delay the quicker runners. Well, let's see how this one works out, because there are 4 cars doing battle. And right in amongst them now is Sean Trainer. Dives to the inside down towards the right hander now. These two, Ben Rowe and Jim Davis, should catch the back markers in a straight line down the Hanger Straight. So that might, in a way, hold them up slightly less. This could start to bring the lead gap down. But if Rowe and Davis are going to do anything about the leader, Sean Trainer, they're going to have to do it quickly. Down the back straight they go. You can see they pull to the right-hand side. They just had more momentum onto the straight, and they're able to pass these cars, which are a bit quicker in a straight line anyway, because they're Class A and Class C cars. The Class B cars, by far the quickest cars, not by far, but they are the quickest cars through the speed traps, but then through the corners, maybe the slightly lighter Class A and C cars have the advantage. So in a straight line, they're able to get past the back markers without too much fuss. It has to be said, though, that Sean Trainer didn't lose a huge amount of time. He lost a little, maybe, to the 2 cars behind. He's flicked the headlights back down again. Of course, one of the unique factors here in MR2 racing is that particularly on these Class B cars, the headlights actually pop up out of the bonnet, and so that adds extra sort of drag when they're out. So as soon as you're clear of the traffic, you need to switch the headlights off, because they do slow you down slightly. And around a power circuit like this, every mile an hour makes a difference. So Sean Trainer out of Abbey Corner up towards Village for what will be the final time. And it looks as though it's going to be a double race victory. He won't take quite as many points out of Ben Rowe in this race by the looks of it, with Ben looking set for a podium finish, possibly even as good as a second place, but he's going to take a few more out of him. And it looks as though this championship is going to continue to tighten up as we get further and further through the year. By my reckoning, we're looking at about a 14-point advantage now for Ben Rowe, if things finish as they are now. Underneath the bridge they go, down the Hanger Straight for the final time. The headlights back on again for Sean Trainer. One headlight is on for Ben Rowe, but with all of the bashes that car has had this weekend, the other one seems to have sustained a little bit of damage, won't come out, but he shouldn't catch the back markers, I don't think, before the end of the race. In fact, it's doubtful in a way that Sean Trainer will, because he's coming down into the last 2 corners now. The singular back marker, in his view, is some way up the road, and it looks as though it will not present a major challenge for him, although actually the number 49 car of David Rowe, that is, just about stays out of the way, but he did have to overtake him before he got to the line. Oh, in fact, he's still trying to overtake him coming out of the final corner, but Sean Trainer does go through, and he will win both of the races here at Silverstone. That is his 3rd double-header victory this year. He's won 2 out of 2 at Rockingham, Cadwell Park, and now Silverstone as well. Ben Rowe in 2nd place, but the championship lead is now closer than it's been for an awfully long time. Confirmation of the result then. Trainer with the victory. Ben Rowe in 2nd position. Jim Davis is 3rd, with Chris Thomas, Paul Cook, Josh Brooks, Tim Herron, Shane Mansbridge, Darren Aldworth, and Stuart Nichols rounding out the top 10. Just outside the top 10 were Peter Higton, Pete Seeley, Jonathan Grimes, Neil Hurren, and Sam Harper. The class winners, Sean Trainer, of course, wins Class B, Stuart Nichols wins in Class C, and it's another double victory in Class A for Adam Lockwood. We had 3 non-finishers from that race. Matthew Smith, unfortunately, on the 6th lap of the race. Will Powell managed 1 lap before pulling into retirement, whilst Mick Nichols was a starter, but never made it round to the end of the 1st lap. Patrick Stoner, Paul Lorry, and Scott Hughes all excluded from the result for overtaking under the yellow flag.
Sean Trainer, 2 out of 2 on the 10th anniversary. Congratulations, well done.
Cheers. Yeah, it's been hard work out there, but Cookie took it right to Mead for the first few laps. We made a bit of a break, but it still wasn't. We weren't we got away a little bit, and then they started coming back, and it's sort of, do you carry on battling, or do you sort of say, come on, let's go on and let's just battle for the last lap? And I think we'd almost made that choice to let's get away a bit, and then something happened behind. I'm not sure. I see Paul going round. Someone just said there might have been a bit of contact there, but I didn't see what had happened. So I'll sure I'll find out when I get back in the paddock.
I'm sure you will, but you keep your head down and continue. You got the win. Well done.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks very much.
Ben, you made up for the mistakes in race 1, coming away with a 2nd place. Hard fought race. Congratulations.
Yeah, you can't fault coming through from 5th and 7th even, and getting on the podium. It's these cars are so competitive, and so the championship's so tight that to make progress like that, it's quite hard. So there were a couple of manoeuvres that were either a little bit 50-50. You try not to do any manoeuvres that are 50-50 because you don't want to end in contact, but. There were a couple that it was close, but it was clean, so it was good.
And the track dried out, so it's a complete contrast to the first race.
Yeah, well, actually, I was surprised at how much grip there was in the first race. It was only sort of the odd place where it was properly, right, you've got to drive around at walking pace kind of thing. But everywhere else was close to dry pace kind of thing. But yeah, in the dry, you've just got to be so on the ragged edge and everywhere sideways.
And it's important for the championship as well. He came into this round leading. Are you still there now?
Well, I was after the first race. I still had 2 points on Sean, but he's just, I think, probably gained 3 on me, depending on who got fastest lap. So, and because he got past Paul and had a couple of clear laps to really go for it, and I didn't seem to be gaining on him particularly. So I thought up until that point I'd probably got the fastest lap because I was catching him. But after that, I don't know. We'll have to see. He's either ahead by 2 or 3 points, I think now. So.
And there's only a certain amount of points on the table for the rest of the season, so
yep.
Every point is important.
Absolutely. And Sean's got no drop scores to play with, though. He had two no scores at Brands because his engine went start of the season, so I've got a little bit more leeway to play with. If he has a bad race, he can't drop a score because they've all got to count now. So
well, we're going to keep an eye on that with interest, but for now, go and enjoy it. Well done.
Thank you very kindly. Thank you.
Sadly, that brings an end to the Gala Performance MR2 Championship and the 10th anniversary here at Silverstone. Fantastic display of racing by everybody involved. Please tune in next time where the action comes from Donington.